She came back from the dead to reclaim her position. Too bad I'd already rewritten the rules. What happened next made 50 alphas kneel. When his former alpha bitch returns from the dead, Silas's control begins to slip. But it's not her claws that threaten the pack. It's his silence. To restore the goddess's trust and his own, he must lead with more than strength. He must trust his mate and lead with his soul.
I let out a long breath as I slipped out of the nursery and into the living room. Silas, alpha of the American pack, and my mate sat on the sofa, reading a stack of reports. But the second he saw me, his face softened. His emerald eyes glowed with warmth and affection, a gaze that could still make my heart flutter. Some days, it didn't feel like life could get any better. "Finally asleep?" I said, taking his outstretched hand and sinking down beside him. Renee fought her nap like a warrior. Jackie wouldn't stop chewing on the crib rail. Adam only went down when David curled up next to him. I laughed, and so did Silas. I wrangled, rocked, fed, wiped, and now I have maybe 2 hours of freedom. I wiggled my brows at him, and he grinned. Sounds like a well-deserved break. He brushed a kiss against my forehead, and I leaned into his side, soaking in his warmth. "Have you thought more about Renee and Mandy coming to visit?" I asked. "Your sister?" "Who else?" He tapped the tip of my nose. "I'd feel better about them coming after the pups are older." "Children," I corrected, arching a brow. "Renee's family, Silas." "I know. Mandy is not." His tone turned hard. "I can't risk humans learning about Pack or our pups." He held up a hand before I could argue. "Children, and weren't you the one complaining about her comments on their accelerated growth? It's not just their size, Jasmine. Renee keeps sending educational games that are 2 grade levels above human norms. One slip, and we're exposed." I sighed, thinking of my last call with Renee. She wanted me to get the kids tested for genius IQs. "How do I explain this to her?" Silas shrugged. "Blame it on me." He slid his arm across my shoulder and I melted into him, resting my head on his chest. "What are you reading?" I asked, nodding at the papers. "Grant requests, business proposals." He glanced at them, then met my gaze. "You're more interesting." I grinned. "Do you ever get tired of being La Patron? The top alpha over 50 alphas? Not when it ends with this." He kissed the top of my head. "And pups who give me an ironclad reason to make the nation better." A warm ache bloomed in my chest. After everything, Hunter's betrayal, the caves, the chaos, I never imagined we'd find normal. But we had. I wasn't just Jasmine Bennett, the human outsider. I was his mate, La Patron's equal, and somehow I'd earned the respect of wolves who once saw me as less. We had a home, a life, and 6 incredible kids. As Silas ran his fingers through my braids, I let my eyes drift shut. His heartbeat beneath my ear, the scent of pine and leather, his warmth wrapped around me. This was peace, and I never wanted it to end.
You know when something feels off. That's what hit me. A shiver ran down my spine, and I froze, trying to identify the source of my unease. My beast whined, usually a sign Jasmine was in trouble or I was with her. I watched her baking in the kitchen, a soothing ritual for her. I inhaled, sensing the disturbance. It wasn't the scent yet, but the heavy air and a prickle between my shoulders, a centuries-old survival instinct. Hank's voice came through our mental link. "Someone's at the western gate. Alone. Female. Says she knows you." "Who is it?" I asked, puzzled, since everyone knew I was mated. "She won't give a name, but insists you'll know her," Hank replied. "She's full blood, not like Ariana." The mention of the rogue breeder who caused chaos pissed me off. I almost dismissed the request, but my beast's mixed emotions of happiness and sadness stopped me. I stood and stretched as Jasmine looked at me. "Someone's here. I need to check it out," I said. She frowned, her light brown eyes darkening. What do you mean? No one just comes here. Who is it? She leaned against the counter. Hank doesn't know, I replied, watching her disbelief. What? Her voice rose. I raised my hands to calm her. My beast's reacting, but there's no threat. Seems I know the person. That's what she told Hank. She? Jasmine's eyes narrowed. A woman is here to see you and won't give her name? It sounded crazy, but I couldn't ignore my beast's reaction. Yeah, I sighed, meeting her gaze. Okay. Give me a moment to turn off the stove and we can go. Her tone left no room for argument. I knew better than to even try. Holding hands, we walked toward the gate in silence. The closer we got, the louder the pulse in my ears became. Then I caught the scent. Faint. Unbelievable. My wolf surged. No, it couldn't be. We stepped through the final gate, and there, framed in sunlight and dirt-smudged silk, stood Johanna. She looked just as she had 200 years ago, before the alpha match and destruction of one of my packs. Silas, she whispered as her knees buckled. I caught her before she fell, her ice-cold skin against mine, her pulse weak. She clung to me, trembling, memories flooding back. Her scent, her voice, my wolf's reaction to her touch. I hadn't thought of her in decades. Jasmine stood behind me, silent, unreadable. I handed Johanna to Hank. Take her to the infirmary. Have them look her over. Hank hesitated briefly before carrying her away. Jasmine's calm voice broke the silence. Who is she? Johanna. I frowned, wondering where she'd been all this time. And what is she to you? Our eyes met. To me, nothing. She was my alpha bitch when I first came to this country. I thought she died with the others. I ran my hand through my hair as the ghosts of the past stirred. There was an alpha challenge. I'd just won a brutal fight and was barely conscious. When I came around, several pack members lay slaughtered. Johanna was one of them. I haven't seen her until now. Hand in hand, we returned to our suite as Jasmine questioned Johanna's whereabouts. Lost in thought, I admitted, I have no idea. A flicker of hope ignited within me. Maybe Johanna could finally provide answers about that horrific day.
I fidgeted with the hem of my red blouse, grimacing at food stains from Adam's dinner antics, and peered through the infirmary doorway at her, Johanna. I didn't want to be here, yet I had to for my own sanity. Ever since she arrived, I'd tried to support my mate's decision to help an old friend, but my spidey senses said something foul was in the wind. Johanna lay on the bed like a sleeping queen, pale and still in hospital linens, while a nurse quietly checked her vitals. Despite being bruised and malnourished, she retained a magazine cover beauty, a striking fighter who had once been Silas's alpha bitch and lover. That thought churned my stomach. Silas stood against the wall, whispering with a doctor while frequently glancing at Johanna with a genuinely concerned, platonic look, as if she was just another pack member. When Johanna's eyes fluttered open, I straightened. Her gaze drifted until it landed on Silas and softened. "Alpha," she whispered. "It's really you?" Silas pushed off the wall and moved forward, stuffing his hands into his pocket while stopping a respectable distance from the bed. Smart man. Considering he refused to allow me in the same room with my ex-husband, I should get brownie points for this. "You're safe now," he said. She slowly scanned the room. "Where am I?" "You're in the clinic. You fell after waiting for me at the gate," Silas said. "Clinic?" Johanna frowned. "What is that? Where?" "Clinic is where healers are," he said simply. "You're in my home." "Our home," I wanted to add, but bit my tongue. "Where have you been all this time?" Silas asked. Johanna blinked as if waking from a nightmare. It was dark and cold. I couldn't move. I was trapped. How did I get here? How did you find me? She shook her head. No, I found you, searched for you. Her gray eyes widened. How did I escape? I was hoping you could tell me, Silas replied, concerned. She shook her head, dark tendrils framing her heart-shaped face. I do not know, don't remember. The Alpha Challenge. What happened after the Alpha Challenge? Silas asked, stepping closer. Johanna screamed and turned away. It hurts to remember, hurts to think. But I saw the smug facade beneath. Oh, honey, I've raised male twins and manage a nursery of 4. I can see through any game. This bitch was good, I'll give her that, but she was no match for a seasoned mom like me. Enough of this. I stepped inside. Both turned toward me. Silas smiled as he took my hand and kissed the back of it. Jasmine, my mate and mother of my pups. Johanna's gray gaze slid from my face down my body. Mate? Yes, Silas replied, a mix of pride and warning in his voice. Johanna furrowed her brow. She's human. How is that possible? Her tone made us sound like aliens. He waved aside her question. Rules have changed. Some human females birth our pups. He smiled down at me. Children. The goddess approves. Truly? Is it the same for human males? She asked. I cannot imagine the insult. Silas stiffened. Jasmine is my mate. There is no insult. Alpha, I meant no offense. Johanna backpedaled. It's all so new. I fought with you for decades as your alpha bitch avoiding humans. Seeing you with her is a shock. I squeezed Silas's hand, letting him know I'd handle it. I understand, Johanna. Silas has never mentioned you, so learning he's had an alpha bitch before is a complete surprise. How many alpha bitches did you have? I met his gaze. He bit back a smile. Over a 300-year period, at least a dozen. And mates? I asked lightly. Only you, sweet bitch. Just you. He pulled me close as we faced Johanna. You can remain here until the doctor releases you. Johanna's eyes widened. Releases me? Where will I go? I don't know anyone in this world. How will I survive? She swallowed hard. Do you hate me that much that you would send me out to my death? The bitch stared at me when she asked the question. Silas answered, No one hates you. I'll send you to another territory with an unmated alpha. Then Johanna burst into loud sobs that lasted several moments. Whether genuine or an act, I couldn't tell. Clearly uncomfortable, Silas had the doctor calm her down. What do you plan to do with her? I asked him through our mental link. Nothing, he said. Men, I sighed. Excellent warriors, but ignorant of the most obvious threats. Silas, if you turn her loose in this condition to another alpha, how long before she sows chaos? She came here for you, so you need to neutralize her before she tells everyone your story. He stared at me. My alphas follow me. I suppressed an eye roll. Of course they do, but she is a full-blood, your former alpha bitch replaced by your human mate. With the rebels fighting against half-breeds, and some alphas not completely on board, she could unify their cause. Do you see what I'm saying? I said. Silas agreed and told Johanna. You'll stay in the East Wing until we figure this out. East Wing? That was far from our home, a smart move. He nodded, speaking mentally again. Just until we understand more. She was a cunning and courageous fighter resurrected from the dead or kept alive and hidden for decades. Her sudden reappearance is suspicious. Thanks for pointing it out. I hadn't considered it. Resurrections fall beneath the goddess's domain, I said, believing she was involved. Silas didn't respond, possibly unsure of my point. Johanna reclined back against the pillows like she owned the place. I appreciate the kindness, she said insincerely. I don't remember much, Alpha. I hope to recall more soon. Yeah, I bet you do, I thought. This was unfamiliar territory, and I needed to prepare to check this bitch. Things seemed quiet on the surface, but I couldn't shake this feeling in my gut. You know how sometimes you can just sense a shift in the air? That's how it felt. like the ground was moving beneath our feet and nobody wanted to admit it. It started with the guards. They trained daily, rotating through the sparring yard to keep their skills sharp. But when Johanna asked to join them, saying it would help her recover her strength, something changed. Silas gave the okay, and at first I didn't think twice about it, until I noticed the way some full-bloods stood straighter when she walked by, the way they laughed at her old war stories, the way she casually mentioned how things were done before the rules were softened for human integration. Tyrone, one of my twins, caught her facing off with a junior guard. Cannon, a young pup the other twin, Tyrese, had taken under his wing. She knocked him flat and said, "You fight well for a half-breed." Cannon didn't report it, but Tyrone told me about it, and I tried discussing it with Silas that night. "She's testing boundaries," I said. "She's learning where they are," he replied without looking up from the reports in his hand. Tyrone said the way she said half-breed was like she was chewing something sour. She knows our kids are half-breeds. "Do you think she's testing you? Trying to get a reaction?" His gaze met mine, hard as blue steel. "If she is, she won't like my reaction." I dropped it for now. The next morning I saw her quietly talking with Alpha Addux from Connecticut near the North Courtyard. When she spotted me, she managed a gracious but empty smile. Addux left shortly after, but his posture was different, like something had been resolved. That night, Silas told me, "She's requesting reassignment, says she wants to serve the nation. Be useful." "Where?" I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I already knew the answer. Addux territory. I didn't need to say anything. We both knew what this meant. Addux had been on the fence about our half-breed integration policies for months, and now Johanna had found her opening. She's calculating, I thought, recognizing the real threat. It wasn't about brute force or violence. It was about insidious manipulation through whispers, smiles, and shadows. If we weren't careful, she wouldn't destroy our house herself. She'd make our people do it for her. I was in the nursery when Tyrese burst in, eyes stormy, fists clenched. "Johanna's talking shit about half-breeds. I don't trust her anywhere in the compound," he said, forgoing a greeting. I stopped changing a diaper and looked at him. "What?" Tyrese thrust a slim tablet in front of me. On it was a transcript from one of our secure pack channels, a short recorded message suggesting that mixed blood weakens the pack and that recent alpha decisions had grown soft, their purpose forgotten. No signature, but the subject matter and misspelled words pointed to Johanna. "She sent this?" I asked. Tyrese looked ready to smash something. "She's been mouthing off to the guards, maybe even some alphas." Tyrone caught wind of it. Tyrone entered, his demeanor calm as tempered steel. "This morning Johanna asked me, does your mother command the pack or merely influence it through Silas?" She smiled it off, as if it weren't a challenge. Oh, it was a challenge. "That's what separates a side chick from a queen on her throne," I muttered. "She doesn't understand the unity between mates and is trying to stir shit." "She's not just stirring. She's trying to tip the whole pot over, using you as the wedge to start a rebellion," Tyrese growled. I waved him off. "If I mention this to Silas, he'll kill her. She'll become a martyr for rebels and shit. I won't give her that satisfaction. If she's concerned about my influence with my mate, she should deal with me." I handed Tyrese his brother. "Watch the kids. I'll be back soon." I found Johanna in the East Wing solarium, looking all high and mighty as she watched the sunlight dance across the floor. You'd think she owned the sun itself the way she acted. I stepped inside. "Jasmine, I'm surprised to see you here," she said coolly. "Why? This is my solarium," I replied, crossing my arms as her gaze narrowed. "You've been busy," she furrowed her brows. "I serve where I can." "Do you serve Silas?" I asked, while glancing at the floral vases around us. "Or the idea of what he used to be?" Johanna's eyes glowed. "I serve the real pack, not this experiment," I scoffed. "You're eating experimental food and sleeping under an experimental roof? Yet you claim it isn't yours?" I hid a smile as her face reddened. "None of this belongs to you," Johanna sneered as her claws unsheathed. "You, your half-breed pups, your influence, it's all a fantasy. The nation needs a proper alpha, one who knows what real strength is, what our traditions demand. "So you plan to replace Silas?" I asked, watching her face go from white to red faster than a traffic light. Her words were treasonous and carried a death penalty. Johanna's smile slipped. "No, of course not. He's the strongest alpha on the continent." Then she pointed at me. "But you did not fight for this, did not bleed beside him. I did. I was his equal. You're human." "Damn right," I said, getting right up in her space. "His human mate with a bond you couldn't break if you tried. And trust me, if you do try, you'll be the one who ends up broken." "I should kill you," she hissed. I did not have the best control over my new powers and hoped I didn't burn down the room. I raised my hand. Energy slapped across her stomach, causing her to fall to her knees, begging me to stop. Tears ran down her face as the pain intensified. I released her. "Never threaten me or mine again, or I'll kill you and no one will stop me." She turned away, but I wasn't finished. "I know what you're doing. We see who's listening, who's shifting. Understand this. If you think you can turn this nation against its alpha by coming after me, you're mistaken about the power of our bond and that of every mated alpha. Leave here today." I walked out before she could answer and did not look back. Consider yourself warned, bitch.
For weeks, I'd sensed unrest threading through the pack. I assumed the rebel uprisings were to blame, but after speaking with a few alphas, it became clear that something else was at work. I was accustomed to the regular complaints which often rose and fell once an alpha became involved, but not this time. The root of the problem escaped us. In search of clarity and direction, I requested an audience with the goddess. Some of the things I heard were treasonous, but I didn't want to expel or terminate anyone if I didn't have to. At the altar, I dropped to my knees, bowed my head, and listened for the trickling stream. The room shifted as I heard the sound. "I need guidance," I said. "Some alphas are still reluctant to accept half-breeds or help them. They want to return to the old ways, claiming it's easier and better for pack growth. I don't know how to get through to them without punishment, which doesn't seem right." The air went still, heavier. Although no one questions me or my decisions, I sense hesitation and concern over my mate's role in the pack. They say she clouds my vision, which isn't true. Jasmine works hard with me to govern the nation. I swallowed the words before they could sour. Some think because she's human, she makes me soft. I lifted my head. "I'm not asking you to silence them. I just need to know, what do I do?" The wind changed. I closed my eyes against the brightness of the light. "Are half-breeds wolves?" she asked, her voice everywhere at once. "Yes." "Who leads the wolves?" she asked. "You," I said without hesitation. "Then tell me, my wolf, who are they truly rebelling against?" "You," I whispered. "And me, as your representative." The silence afterward carved through me. Her presence surged. "And yet you let them whisper unchecked. You've let doubt ferment. And you..." Her voice cut sharply. "You never spoke these truths aloud. Not to your people, not even to your mate." My head snapped up. I didn't want to burden Jasmine. "She is your mate for that purpose," the goddess thundered. "Not just for pleasure or to bear pups, but to guard your heart and share your load. She would have told you the truth weeks ago and stopped this before it grew to this point." I bowed my head again, shame burning in my chest. Her energy whipped around me like fire. "Until you learn to lead not only with power, but with purpose, until you speak with heart and not merely command, I will hold the wolf." A searing pain exploded in my chest. I buckled, hitting the floor with a scream as the mark on my chest that once pulsed with divine power was removed. I collapsed to one hand, panting. When I opened my eyes, I was alone, and weaker than I'd felt in centuries. As I returned to the compound, I reviewed everything the goddess said and didn't say. It wasn't enough to say Jasmine and I oversaw the pack when I did not share critical information with her. My mate saw things I missed. I needed her wisdom to help heal the pack. Plus, she would notice the missing wolf's head from my chest and know something was wrong. She would know my shame.
The moment Silas walked through the doors, I knew something was wrong. He didn't speak or come to me as usual, just closed the door and stood there, clearly struggling to hold himself together. It broke my heart to see him like that. Not because he looked shattered, but because I could tell he was trying so hard to hide it from me. "What's wrong?" he sighed. "I met with the goddess." That explained the haunted look. For a divine being, she was not known for gentle conversations or direct answers. I rose slowly. "Okay, what happened?" He opened his mouth and closed it. That's when I knew it was bad. Really bad. "I messed up," he admitted. Those 3 words shook me. Silas was the goddess's biggest supporter. "How?" I asked. He told me everything. The unrest in the community, whispers about half-bloods, fears that my influence was making him weak. It was a lot to take in, though not unexpected. "That's true," I said, relieved he noticed. He pulled me close. "She said you knew and would have helped me through all of it." "Also true," I said, then added, "Johanna's behind most of it." He frowned. Who else reminisces about the old days? Just her spinning romantic tales of battles and rugged packs, ignoring the real hardships. I cupped his cheek. "She wants you, baby, but that's tough shit for her because I'm not going anywhere. She cannot have you." A slow smile curved across his mouth. "I love you, sweet bitch." "I know." I winked as we walked toward the sofa. "What's the game plan?" He placed my hand on his chest. I stared at him for a few seconds. The warmth that usually pulsed faintly beneath his skin was gone. My fingers slid up his chest, trembling, and stopped over where his mark should have been. I gasped. Silas closed his eyes, jaw tightening. "She took it?" I whispered. "She did," he said, voice raw. Tears burned the edges of my eyes, but I blinked them back. Silas sank onto the edge of the couch. I joined him. "What now?" I asked. He met my gaze, determination mingling with vulnerability. "Short term, I can lead without it, but I'm weaker in every aspect. To keep the nation united, I need her wolf back." Staring at him, an idea formed. I smiled, leaned in, and kissed him. "All right then, tomorrow we work to get it back." "Together," he said. "Damn right," I agreed.
Power crackled through the conference room as I scanned the 50 monitors, one for each alpha under my command. Names flickered on the screens, faces showing both pride and trepidation. At my side, Jasmine sat tall and regal in charcoal grey. Her neatly coiled braids and the gold glinting at her throat sent a clear message. We're a united front. Tyrone and Tyrese flanked us, a clear reminder that our half-breed bloodline was here, prepared to eliminate rebels. I take a deep breath. "The goddess is displeased," I announced, my voice booming. "I've allowed doubt fester by not crushing it immediately. That ends now." I noticed the shock ripple across the screens. Good, I've got their attention. "I allowed rebellion to grow by not confronting issues head-on. By failing to speak the truth to you and the pack, I made room for dissent. No more." I sensed the guilty squirming. Even better. "Let me be crystal clear," I say, my words striking like lightning. "The goddess' judgment is final. Any alpha who can't lead all her wolves, half-breeds included, is unfit to serve." I slam my fist on the table, the reality of what I've allowed hitting me hard. "If your personal beliefs or bloodlines prevent you from fulfilling your sacred duty, resign now. I'll accept all resignations immediately. None did. I stood, my voice rising. From now on, no whispered factions, no veiled insults, no passive defiance. Leaders commanded or step down or be removed. Silence broke into unexpected applause. Alphas bowed, fists over hearts, renewing vows with tears. Some wept. Others simply said, "Forgive me." They weren't responding to me, they were responding to the goddess. When the last of them signed off, I said, "Alpha Attucks, remain." He didn't hide his fear. "Patron, he choked. "I lost sight. I let uncertainty guide me." "You spread poison," I cut in. "Remove Johanna from your territory." "Done." Jasmine leaned forward and kissed my cheek. "Well done, Wolfie." I grinned at her sass and pulled her onto my lap as Tyrone and Tyrese parted. "It was your idea," I reminded her. "Yeah, but no one says, 'Get your ass together or get out,' like you." "That was all you, Wolfie," she said before I kissed her again. 2 days later, Johanna contacted me online, looking hurt. "You would cast me out," she whispered. "I already have. Your beliefs about half-breeds violate the goddess's directions. If you're found on Packland, you will be terminated," I said, ending the conversation. The next morning, the wolf's head burned on my chest again, vibrant and alive. "Johanna has left," the goddess whispered. "Do not concern yourself with her again." Jasmine believes the goddess resurrected Johanna as a test. I hesitate to believe it, but with Johanna disappearing again, I wonder if my mate is right.
Underneath the neon lights where dreams collide and sway, you're the heartbeat of my world, in every shade of gray. You call me Wolfie and it makes my spirit soar. With you, my fearless partner, I always want more. Oh my sweet bitch, together we ignite. With laughter as our compass, we'll chase away the night. Through the battles we faced, with you I'm never lost. In this empire of love, we'll conquer at all cost. At all cost. In journeys filled with colors, we'll never fade away. With you I'll climb the mountains, we'll rise with each new day. Hand in hand we'll write our song, a tale that never ends. In this kingdom of our making, you're my lover and my friend. In the fire of our struggles, our passion only grows. No one can come between us, this is what we chose. Oh my sweet bitch, together we ignite. With laughter as our compass, we'll chase away the night. Through the battles we faced, with you I'm never lost. In this empire of love, we'll conquer at all costs. So let the world keep turning and let the seasons change. With you beside me always, I'll never feel estranged. In this vibrant life we share, we'll shine